Hey there, my name is Weko and I'm a grown man that really loves superhero movies. I watch them all the time because they're one of the few things that actually make me happy and they've literally saved my life before. Whenever I rewatch them, I tend to talk to myself a lot and I believe I say some pretty insightful stuff. But talking to myself alone in a room while I watch fucking Marvel movies is quite weird, so I'm gonna come on here and talk to you guys instead. I really hate doing YouTube intros, but this is episode 1 and a lot of world building needs to be established, so here we are. This is gonna be less of a review series and more of an objective analysis type series. Less of this is what I like, what I don't like, and how it made me feel, and more of this is what this is how it works, this is why it works like this, and this is why it is either good or bad. Hence the title, A Critical Analysis. This also means that the score I'll be giving each movie at the end of the video will be an objective 1 out of 10 based on how well the movie functions as a cohesive narrative. And I have a feeling that some of these scores might piss a lot of people off because some of these beloved MCU movies are actually really quite bad. Also, I'm still a human being, so a lot of my subjective bias preferences are going to shine through in some of these analyses which are supposed to be objective overall. So just be ready for that. Don't get your panties in a bunch when I start saying I like this, I like that, I don't like this, I don't like that. I'm neither a Marvel or DC fan, but I love the MCU more because it's objectively better than DCEU and Endgame made me cry. So I'll be starting with all the MCU movies first. At the end of the Infinity Saga, I'll take a break from the MCU and cover a different franchise like the DCEU, the solo Spider-Man movies, the X-Men movies, or the horrible Sonyverse movies even. Not quite sure, but till then, let's analyze Iron Man. Oh, thank God, the intro is over. You're not getting more intros from me. Next time, video just gonna start with the analysis. Alright, let's go. Roll the clip.
I feel like you're driving me to a court-martial. This is crazy. What did I do?
Tony's first scene with the soldiers, clearly both admiring and being intimidated by him, combined with his nice-ass suit, lets us know that he's clearly someone important, not just to the narrative as our main protagonist, but also within the world which he exists.
No, you intimidate them.
Good God, you're a woman. I couldn't have called that. I mean, I'd apologize, but isn't that what we're going for here? I thought of you as a soldier first.
His compulsion to tell a joke every 2 sentences, combined with his loosely undone tie and very casual glass of alcohol in the middle of the day, lets us know he's an inherently facetious kind of character. He couldn't take himself seriously even if you paid him.
Yeah, peace. I love peace. I'll be out of a job with peace.
Come on, just click it. Don't change any settings. Just click it.
It's quite poetic that right after he made a joke about war profiteering, he immediately came face to face with the cold-blooded violence he had trivialized so much just so he could line his pockets with cash.
Son of a bitch!
The look of genuine fear and uncertainty in a man that was just a few seconds ago making a joke a minute is quite an amusing juxtaposition.
वीरान और बंजर कोनों में इस खातिर जमा हो रहे हैं.
The Iron Man logo looking like actual iron while being accompanied by welding sound effects is a nice touch. We also see the origin of that lateral fadeaway effect that will go on to be incorporated in the title cards for the successive Avengers movies.
Tony Stark. Visionary. Genius. American patriot.
After the YouTube video-esque cold open, we cut to 36 hours earlier and get a diegetic expository device that the movie cleverly uses to give the audience more information about the main character while framing it as a brief highlight reel that plays at an award ceremony right before he doesn't show up to receive his award.
Well, I'm not Tony Stark.
Because he's too busy gambling, making jokes, and of course, flirting with hot girls. Pretty consistent characterization so far. The highlight reel tells us his name is Tony Stark. He is a super genius child prodigy whose dad, Howard Stark, was a legendary weapons developer that died and was succeeded by his good friend Obadiah Stane, who stepped down when Tony turned 21 and took over his dad's company and basically improved on everything his dad did before him. All that organic world building done without feeling like the movie had to pause to talk to the audience like we're a bunch of kids. Fucking genius level writing right here. Also, his company's name is Stark Industries, so in about 36 hours he's about to get blown up by his own weapons. How thematic.
As liaison to Stark Industries, I've had the unique privilege of serving with a real patriot. He is my friend and he is my great mentor.
More organic, well-written dialogue that introduces us to Colonel James Rhodes, or Rhodey for short, a decorated high-ranking military officer who is Tony's best friend and serves as a diplomatic middleman between Stark Industries and the federal government for the purposes of facilitating their mutually beneficial arms-dealing military contracts.
He is my friend, and he is my great mentor.
Calling your best friend your great mentor is kind of weird, but aight.
The best thing about Tony is also the worst thing. He's always working.
Obadiah's willingness to lie for Tony shows his great loyalty and dedication to his dead friend's only son, or it could just be him trying to look out for the company's best interest and avoid a huge PR disaster.
There you go.
There it is. That was easy. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it's okay.
Wow, will you look at that? That's something else. I don't have any of those floating around. We're gonna let it ride.
His desensitization towards being honored with yet another award shows just how tired he is of everyone always trying to kiss his ass, which is why he was so uncomfortable with the soldiers treating him like a god and became so much happier when they all loosened up and started joking around with him.
And what do you say to your other nickname, the Merchant of Death?
It's an imperfect world, but it's the only one we've got. I guarantee you, the day weapons are no longer needed to keep the peace, I'll start making bricks and beams for baby hospitals.
Here we see that he justifies his morally reprehensible career choices by simply stating that there's already a huge demand and he's just a supplier. If he wasn't supplying, somebody else would.
Do you plan to report on the millions we've saved by advancing medical technology or kept from starvation with our IntelliCrops? All those breakthroughs, military funding, honey.
Also, he does philanthropy, so fuck you.
You ever lose an hour of sleep your whole life?
I'm prepared to lose a few with you.
Big man in a suit of armor. Take that off. What are you?
Genius, billionaire, playboy, philanthropist.
Yup, story checks out.
Good morning. It's 7 a.m. The weather in Malibu is 72 degrees with scattered clouds. The surf conditions are fair with waist to shoulder high line.
Introducing us to Jarvis, his AI assistant with all these holographic technological capabilities this early on in the narrative, makes it even more believable when we see him building a high-tech suit of armor later on in the movie.
After all these years, Tony still has you picking up the dry cleaning.
I do anything and everything that Mr. Stark requires, including occasionally taking out the trash.
Again with the organic characterization, very strong personality, always reliable, loyal to her employer, but will not tolerate disrespect. Oh, and her name is Pepper, by the way.
Your flight was scheduled to leave an hour and a half ago.
That's funny. I thought with it being my plane and all, that it would just wait for me to get
Tony,
there.
you are supposed to be halfway around the world right now.
How'd you take it?
Like a champ.
I mean, doesn't it kind of defeat the whole purpose of having your own plane if it departs before you arrive?
Larry?
Seeing as how he made strict plans with Rhodey the night before,
This is where I exit. All right, tomorrow, don't be late.
Yeah, you can count on it.
I'm serious.
I know.
his blatant disregard for the commitments he made to his best friend is indicative of his inherent narcissism.
What are you trying to get rid of me for? What, do you got plans?
As a matter of fact, I do.
I don't like it when you have plans.
I'm allowed to have plans on my birthday.
It's your birthday.
Yes.
I knew that.
More blatant disregard for the personal affairs of those closest to him. Again, incredibly narcissistic behavior.
Well, get yourself something nice for me.
I already did.
And?
Oh, it was very nice.
Yeah.
Very tasteful. Thank you, Mr. Stark.
Tony doesn't know how to turn off his charm even with his employees, which is expected, but it appears Pepper might have some underlying feelings for him. This would also explain her slightly territorial behavior in the presence of potential competitors for Tony's affection.
What's wrong with you?
What?
3 hours.
I got caught doing a piece for Vanity Fair.
For 3 hours. For 3 hours, you got me standing.
Waiting on you now. Let's go. Come on.
Refuses to take responsibility and simultaneously deflects blame onto the victim of his negligence, all while subversively disguising his misbehavior with comedy. The continuous seamless integration of all his prominent character traits within one another is actually amazing.
What you reading? Platypus?
Nothing.
Come on, Sour Patch.
Not
Don't
sour.
be mad.
I told you I'm not mad. I'm indifferent, okay?
Well, people that are really indifferent typically don't need to say they are, they just are.
You don't respect yourself, so I know you don't respect me.
I respect
I'm just
you.
your babysitter, and so, you know, when you need your diaper change, thank you. Let me know, and I'll get you a bottle, okay?
This is clearly something that Tony has done a lot in the past, and Rhodey is so fed up with it to the point where he tries to convince himself that he's indifferent and doesn't care, when clearly it still pisses him off.
For your consideration, the Jericho.
That That's a really cool shot, and it gets even cooler when you realize that Tony went through the trouble of using math and physics to plan that explosive spectacle just for his standard weapons presentation. It really shows his dedication to showmanship and tells us why he's such a good salesman on top of also being a great scientist, and how much he loves being the center of attention. A narcissistic character trait that I'm sure will surface much later in the movie.
Hey, Tony.
I'm sorry, this is the fun V. The humdrum V is back there.
Nice job.
See back, bitch.
Despite being fed up of Tony's narcissistic idiosyncrasies, Roddy still remains a good friend and gives him his accolades when he's earned it. This also shows how much he appreciates him and the work he does.
What is this?
That is an electromagnet hooked up to a car battery, and it's keeping the shrapnel from entering your heart.
It's actually quite fascinating how Yinsen was able to MacGyver an unconventional clinical solution that actually saved Tony's life with the limited resources he had access to in a cave in the middle of the desert, even though it's basically just him putting the world's biggest band-aid on a bullet wound.
He wants you to build the missile. The Jericho missile that you demonstrated.
That's kinda weird. Why not just steal the Jericho missiles while you were kidnapping him? You already successfully stole his older weapons. Why would you expect him to be able to build an extremely complicated piece of military-grade weapons technology in a cave with a box of scraps?
That doesn't look like a Jericho missile.
That's because it's a miniaturized arc reactor. I got a big one powering my factory at home.
Bro has several pieces of shrapnel currently burrowing its way into his heart. He has an electromagnet fused to his chest which prevents that from happening, and is also connected to a car battery which he has to carry around every time he moves. He just found out that his entire life's work is in the arms of mass murdering psychopaths, and instead of being used to protect the innocent, his weapons are what terrorists are using to commit mass genocide. So his legacy is basically in the toilets. He's been held hostage in a cave in the middle of nowhere, forced to build weapons for a man that he knows will kill him 8 seconds after he no longer has any use for him. And still, he's able to defy the odds and essentially manifest new technology out of thin air while still being hopeful for the future. That right there is the kind of drive, dedication and elbow grease that heroes are made of, because we all know that most men would buckle under the same circumstance. It's so iconic to see the main character of the movie called Iron Man literally forging his suit of armor with his bare hands. Now that's just objectively cool. Yeah! Burn in hell, you sons of bitches!
I'm sorry, this is the fun V. The humdrum V is back there.
How was the fun, V? Next time you ride with me, okay?
Now that's some A1 best friend dialogue right there. Profusely smiling while biting your lower lip? Ah, yeah, I want you to report yourself to HR right after the scene, young lady.
I'm Agent Phil Coulson with the Strategic Homeland Intervention Enforcement and Logistics Division.
That's quite a mouthful.
I know. We're working on it.
Ambitious moves like these are the foundations that build the bedrock of the MCU.
Effective immediately, I am shutting down the Weapons Manufacturer Division of Stark International.
Very impulsive, very direct, very straight to the point. He saw a problem and the first chance he got, he fixed it. Shareholders and board members be damned. I like it.
Oh, there's pus.
It's not pus, it's an inorganic plasmic discharge. It's from the device, not from my body.
You know, I never really understood the whole arc reactor in the chest situation. If it goes that deep into his body, then isn't that just driving a hole into his sternum, his ribs and his lungs? If the shrapnel is going into his heart, shouldn't the magnet be seated on the left side of his chest? And if there are several pieces of shrapnel moving around in his chest, shouldn't that be causing him constant agonizing pain like all the time? If there's a magnet in his chest, shouldn't it be a matter of time before he draws out all the shrapnel out of his chest? Or is the magnet just holding the pieces of shrapnel in one place, not drawing it out or letting it get to his heart, which would be highly improbable? And why didn't you just immediately get them removed once you got home? There's nothing stopping you and the suit still functions with an externally placed reactor regardless. Kinda weird you waited till Iron Man 3 to get those things removed, but alright.
Don't ever ask me to do anything like that ever again.
I don't have anyone but you.
Well, he's not wrong.
Day 11, test 37, configuration 2.0. For lack of a better option, dummy is still on fire safety. If you douse me again and I'm not on fire, I'm donating you to City College.
Seeing him go through the process of trial and error is so interesting because it's precisely because of these bumpy roads and scenes like this.
And 3, 2, 1.
That makes scenes like this
Yeah, I can fly.
feel so much more fulfilling. The shit means a lot more to the audience because we feel like he has actually earned these breakthroughs. They weren't just handed to him on a silver platter.
Ready? In 3, 2.
Watching him instinctually but awkwardly flare his arms and palms out in that position as he gets ready to take off for the second time because that's the only way he was able to do it the first time is so funny because I'm used to seeing him have a lot more swagger and look a lot more confident in the suit. Probably because by the time we get to the Avengers movies, he has given himself dual jetpacks in his shoulder plates to replace the handheld flight stabilizers he had in his older models. So he no longer has to assume the position. Even by the time we get to his first fight scene in the Mark III, he's become so much more confident in his suit that he doesn't need to get into position anymore. He just activates the flight stabilizers in whatever position his hands happen to be in at the moment, and it looks so much cooler. It's actually the difference between worrying about what to do with your hands at a party and just being cool. This scene is important to take note of because it corrects a mistake that will be made in the first Avengers movie. So, he's falling because his systems shut down due to build-up of ice on his suit as a result of him flying too high into the atmosphere. He almost falls to the ground, but he's able to reboot and quickly regain his flight capabilities. But he doesn't just start flying upward immediately. He first allows himself to fall for a few more seconds before he quickly but steadily redirects his trajectory and starts flying upwards again. This is called breaking your fall. In a world governed by the rules of physics, when an object is in free fall, you always have to decelerate it a little bit before attempting to bring it to a state of rest. You don't just abruptly stop yourself doing a free fall and expect everything to be okay. No, that's called It's not the fall that kills you, it's the impact on the floor as your body comes to an abrupt stop when it hits a hard surface. This scene doesn't work because Tony doesn't break his fall at all. He just comes to an abrupt stop after being under the influence of strong G-forces, then immediately changes his trajectory. If we were applying real world physics to this scene, Tony will be a pile of mush in the suit by the time he gets back up to meet Loki. That's a cool little sentiment. That's the first mini arc reactor that he made in the cave. When he got home, Pepper helped him replace it with a refined model, then he instructed her to destroy it. She of course didn't do that, but instead encased it in glass, engraved the words proof that Tony Stark has a heart onto it, and gave it to him as a gift that simultaneously represented her belief in him as a good person that's trying to do good even though the world doesn't see it sometimes, and a subtle glimpse into her underlying romantic feelings for him. It will of course go on to be used as the centerpiece in a bouquet of roses during his funeral scene in Endgame. And that's why it's important to have a good woman in your life. They tend to find and create beauty out of the most seemingly ordinary and inconsequential things. Now, the very thing he regarded as irrelevant just a few scenes ago is exactly what puts a smile on his face whenever he looks at it.
Perhaps if you intend to visit other planets, we should improve the exosystems.
Connect to the Cisco, have it reconfigure the shell metals, use the gold titanium alloy from the Seraphim tactical satellite.
Again, very driven, very direct, very innovative. He saw a problem and the first chance he got, he fixed it.
Controversial press conference. Some claim he's suffering from post-traumatic stress and has been bedridden for weeks. Whatever the case may be, no one expects an appearance from him.
You basically just called him out, young lady. What are you doing? Don't you know he loves being the center of... And there he goes.
Hey, Tony. Remember me?
Sure don't. Look great, Hef.
Hey, I wonder who that is.
No, it was not just a dance. You don't understand because you're you. And everybody knows exactly who you are and how you are with girls and all of that, which is completely fine.
Well, that's a lie.
But, you know, then me, you're my boss and I'm dancing with you. No, because it makes me look like the one who's trying to...
This is good because there are two things going on in this scene. So, Tony saw Pepper at the party in a stunning silk no-back dress. The one he bought her for her birthday, actually.
Come on, get yourself something nice for me.
I already did.
And?
Oh, it was very nice.
Yeah.
Very tasteful. Thank you, Mr. Stark.
And was just so dumbfounded by her beauty that he went and immediately asked her to dance. She refuses because obviously it's gonna be weird, but Tony doesn't take no for an answer, so they dance for a bit, then things immediately get weird because they've never so explicitly explored this aspect of their dynamic before. Tony then calls out the awkwardness and makes a few jokes to lighten the mood, but then things immediately go back to being weird, so they just go to the balcony to get some air.
That was totally weird.
Totally harmless.
It was totally not harmless, by the way.
We're dancing.
Everybody who I work with, no, you know why?
I think you lost objectivity.
Pepper starts talking about how it was weird because everyone just saw her dancing with her employer and it's going to be perceived as her trying to slip her way to the top, which is a real problem that I'm glad the movie decided to tackle head on, but in all actuality, this...
No, it was not just a dance. You don't understand because you're you, and everybody knows exactly who you are and how you are with girls and all of that, which is completely fine.
It's just Pepper's way of trying to indirectly say that she doesn't want to be just another one of the many girls he sleeps with and tosses to the side. She wants to be special. She doesn't just want to be like other girls. This is interesting because even after all her complaining, Pepper goes in for the kiss because, like I said, she likes him, but Tony doesn't kiss her back and he doesn't push her away. Instead, he freezes.
What are you talking about? I never freeze.
Well, you did today.
Hi.
The genius billionaire playboy philanthropist that can get any girl he wants freezes when Pepper tries to kiss him. Why? Because he's afraid of what that kiss is gonna mean, of course. He knows that if he kisses her, he will have to be in a committed relationship with her and not just, do this little fling thing where he fucks around and off whenever he wants because he knows how he feels about her and that shit actually scares him. Which makes sense because a committed relationship is to a fuckboy what Kryptonite is to Superman. They can't handle that shit. The thought of actually putting his heart on the line and allowing himself to care about someone again actually scares him because what if she breaks his heart? Or worse, what if he loses her like he did his parents?
Who do you think locked you out? I was the one who filed the injunction against you.
After being rejected for no explicable reason, Pepper gets understandably upset and sends him to go get her a drink. While at the bar, the reporter from the start of the movie approaches Tony and he finds out that Obadiah has been selling weapons to the enemy. He confronts him, basically gets told to fuck off and learns that he's locking him out of his company as well. Now, as you can imagine, finding out that the legacy of innocent bloodshed that he has been trying to correct was actually being orchestrated by his trusted business partner this whole time and is still being perpetuated right now by the same people that kidnapped him while also actively losing control over his company would be more than enough to thoroughly piss him off. But unfortunately for Pepper, this means that he's gonna forget all about their little interaction and go remedy the situation, which then leads to the absolute fucking best Iron Man suit-up scene in the entire MCU and quite possibly the best suit-up scene in any superhero movie, period. Bro, the sound design alone is fucking immaculate. The soundtrack fits the vibe of the scene so well, especially when you take into account all the shit that's making Tony upset right now. The sound effects of all the gears and nuts and bolts and peripheral moving parts really go a long way to make the suit feel real. The visuals of the individual layers of the suit being assembled piece by piece, the mechanical arms spinning and rotating around him as they smoothly fasten all the nuts and bolts, the aesthetically pleasing visual design of the external shell with the calming hot rod red being juxtaposed against the audacious gold titanium alloy, the fact that he's shown to be wearing a synthetic thermal full body base layer underneath the armor to help regulate his body temperature and give that added layer of protection, the prelude we get to that spinning rim situation he develops in the Avengers movies with the platform breaking apart and opening up underneath him as they serve and assemble the parts around him, the look of righteous indignation on his face right before the faceplate slams shut. Oh yeah! There's not a single suit-up scene in existence that beats this one. Not a single one. I fucking dare you to try and prove me wrong. I like how he just comes in and starts murdering all these terrorists with no regard for that generic stereotypical moral code held by most superheroes that prevents them from killing the bad guys. It's like, yeah, fuck these guys. They are terrorizing and slaughtering innocent people and they're using my weapons to do it. If I don't fucking kill them, they will just wake up tomorrow and do the same shit again. Plus, it's very consistent with his characterization thus far. You don't just go from being the billionaire that has no problem with manufacturing and selling weapons to the military for the express purpose of killing terrorists, to being a superhero with a moral compass that prevents him from killing fucking terrorists. So fucking kill them assholes, my guy. Fucking kill them all.
Die, spaceship!
It's funny, before I recovered that clip while I was writing the script, I actually remember the scene going like this: die, evil spaceship! But he never says evil.
Die, spaceship!
Huh, weird. He assumes the position here again, but because he's already comfortable with doing it however he likes, it's a lot less stiff and awkward compared to the first time.
Compliments of Tony Stark.
If you kill him when you were supposed to, you'd still have a face.
Well, that's not much of a surprise. Bro legit looked like a third act twist villain the whole movie.
Cleared up the armor and the rest of it. Alright.
That doesn't really make any sense. How did he just neutralize that many terrorists without making a single sound the whole time their leader was in the tent, literally 5 feet away from them? Especially when they were just flanking you with malicious intent a few minutes ago, so it's not like you even caught them by surprise or anything.
Your father, he helped give us the atomic bomb. Now what kind of world would it be today if he was as selfish as you?
Now that's some A1 villain dialogue right there.
Too bad you had to involve Pepper in this. I would have preferred that she lived.
No, sir. Go back and kill him right now. He's your opposition. He has the power to stop you. You just threatened the girl he likes. And you have no reason to keep him alive because you got the suit, you got the company, you got the arc reactor. And again, you just threatened the girl he likes. So, even if he wasn't against you selling weapons to terrorists, he's for sure gonna come get you now. Kill him, bro. Kill him. What are you doing?
That's the coolest thing I've ever seen.
See? He gets it.
You need me to do anything else?
Keep the skies clear.
Okay, so he assumes the position again, and while it's not as cringe as the first time, it's not quite as cool as the last time he did it. Mostly because he did it a bit slower this time around, kinda took the swagger out of it. But so far, nothing beats this variation right here.
He's all yours.
So fucking cool.
Next time, baby.
Again, bold moves like these are the foundations that built the bedrock of the MCU. We'll love to fucking see it. It's crazy how this scene worked so this scene could run.
For 30 years I've been holding you up.
Oh, so that's why you didn't kill him. The script needed you to leave him alive so that the big third act final battle can happen.
Well, that's just lazy writing.
Powered reduced to 19%.
I like how the movie keeps showing Tony going out of his way to actually help innocent people, like when he stopped attacking after the terrorists took human shields and went the extra mile to eliminate them with pinpoint precision when he tried to save the pilot even though he had a heat-seeking missile on his ass, and now that the suit is operating on less power as a result of having to be sustained by the Mark 1 chest piece.
How do you think the Mark 1 chest piece is going to hold up?
The suit's at 48% power and falling, sir. That chest piece was never designed for sustained flight.
Keep you posted.
He still uses a significant amount of his limited power to save this family. It shows that he actually cares about the lives his weapons are affecting. He's not just doing it out of pride or vengeance or whatever.
Impressive! You've upgraded your armor!
He assumes the position again. It's neither here nor there, but because he does it mid-air, it's slightly cooler than the last one, but not as cool as the second one, and of course, nothing beats this one.
He's all yours.
So fucking cool! So fucking cool!
Sir, you're not gonna believe this. I think it's back. Get me Major Allen.
I understand how you caught onto his trail after he killed those terrorists. That was an active war zone which the military was closely monitoring, but why are you guys able to monitor his flights right now, especially when you weren't able to detect him while he was test running the Mark II? Doesn't really make much sense.
How'd you solve the icing problem?
Icing problem.
Might want to look into it.
Nice thematic callback to a mistake he made earlier. Too bad it didn't work out the way he thought it would.
I never had a taste for this sort of thing.
How did you do that without completely beheading him? It's not just a helmet, you know. That thing is locked around his neck and his jaw as well.
You ripped out my targeting system.
What are you talking about? Yeah, Tony definitely pulled out some shit that caused your heads-up display to malfunction. But literally 5 seconds ago, you were shooting right at him and so precisely to the point where he had to shield his head. Then when he fell through the glass and couldn't protect his face anymore, instead of landing an easy-ass headshot, you started pointlessly shooting at the glass around him, making sure to not shoot him, even by accident, and now your targeting system is malfunctioning?
Right.
Bro, do you want to kill this man or not? Make a decision. Please, you're wasting my time here. I've got other movies to analyze, you know. So far, this is the worst aspect of this film.
Oh, still, you little prick.
Bro, come on, you're not even fucking trying to aim at him. Oh! Okay, so this whole time Tony had Pepper downstairs fucking with the arc reactor, trying to get it to explode.
Pods.
Tony!
This isn't working. We're gonna have to overload the reactor and blast the roof.
Well, how are you gonna do that?
You're gonna do it.
It eventually blows up and only kills Obadiah, and that just doesn't make any sense. Now, I might be able to buy that the force from the reactor simply pushed Tony away to the edge of the circle because he was so light, therefore keeping him clear of the blast radius. But what I don't understand is the fact that Obadiah is clearly on the furthest edge of the circle, even further away from the blast radius than Tony is. Yet, he still got electrocuted to death, but somehow Tony is left unscathed. Yeah, the math ain't mathin', bro. Huh, would you look at that? A blue sky beam, first of many. Again, not sure how this explosion didn't burn him alive. It's literally right there, bro. What are we doing?
Truth is, I am Iron Man.
This iconic scene is actually a whole lot better when you take into account the immediate context surrounding it. So, Agent Coulson and S.H.I.E.L.D. went through all this trouble to help him fabricate and reinforce this cover story that Iron Man, the name given to him by the media after his public fight with Obadiah, is just one of his many bodyguards. And he's supposed to say that he was on a boat having a party somewhere while the whole thing was going down. He then gets on stage, the girl from the start of the movie calls bullshit on his story, he calls bullshit on her bullshit, starts going on a bit of a tangent about how it couldn't possibly be him, seeing as how he has made so many mistakes, meaning that he's not the hero type. Rhodey then tells him to stick to the cards, then he just goes, fuck you!
I am Iron Man.
The whole crowd erupts except for that one girl who intuitively knew the whole time but refused to give him satisfaction of seeing her give a bodacious reaction, probably because he forgot her name that one time.
Tony Stark.
Oh, hey.
Fancy seeing you here.
Carrie.
Christine.
We cut right back to Tony with that big ass smirk on his face, and just like that, movie's over, fuck you, cut to credits. Again, very consistent characterization. There was no way the insistent narcissist within him was not going to let him take credit for all that cool shit he just did. I mean, he built a high-tech suit of armor in his fucking basement because he fucking felt like it. Flew around risking his life to save lives and beat up bad guys, and now y'all just wanna give all that credit to some fucking fictional bodyguard? No, fuck that, fuck you, I am Iron Man, bitch!
Nick Fury, director of S.H.I.E.L.D. I'm here to talk to you about the Avenger Initiative.
You already know what I'm about to say, so alright, all together now, from the top. Bodacious moves like these are the foundations that build the bedrock of the MCU. There you go, good job guys. 8 out of 10. Very well made movie, but that third act final battle was pretty shit and also literally did not need to happen. So yeah, subscribe to my Patreon for Weko's Echo. That is my Patreon exclusive weekly podcast where I review movies, answer your questions, and react to Reddit stories. Whew! Well, this was fun. Subscribe to my Patreon, link in the description, and I'll see you guys in the next analysis!
Is that all you got?